News so often ends up being negative, but a benchmark report put out by the Monterey Bay Aquarium highlights that many positive trends are making an impact on the global seafood supply. Turning the Tide, the State of the Seafood report, details continuing trends in the oceans. Reports of a booming fish farming sector and other factors offer hope for the future. Joining me now is the Senior Science Manager for Seafood Watch, Dr. Geoff Shester. Dr. Shester, let's talk about this benchmark report that concludes we are improving our attempts to secure sustainable seafood.
Well, the Monterey Bay Aquarium has recently celebrated its 25th year anniversary, and part of that was the release of the State of Seafood report called Turning the Tide, which essentially goes through a number of trends and evaluates the state of seafood worldwide. And it finds that essentially while the oceans are under threat as never before, there are many signs of hope out there and reasons for the seafood industry, buyers and consumers to be hopeful about the future of seafood.
Now, the state of seafood is in constant threat by mankind. What has this report brought to light?
Well, in the last 50 years, the demand for seafood worldwide has grown over 8-fold. And that's put tremendous pressure on our oceans, and there are still, in terms of the trends, continuing species that are collapsing and being overfished. You're probably well aware of many species are caught as bycatch, like marine turtles and sharks that are caught accidentally in fishing gear. And also destructive fishing practices like bottom trawling continue to damage seafloor habitats. And what we found is that in the U.S. at least, over 50% of the seafood caught is caught with bottom trawls. At the same time, the demand and growth of the farmed seafood industry, or aquaculture, is now going to surpass the actual amount of consumption that is taking place that people are eating. So this year in 2009, people will be eating more farmed seafood than wild-caught seafood for the first time ever in history.
So let's start with the buyers. What can major buyers of seafood learn from this report?
So one of the main things that we found in the report and that we document is there are many major buyers of seafood are now engaging in partnerships with different groups in the environmental community that are then advising them on how to make decisions more sustainably. The Monterey Bay Aquarium, for example, has partnered with several large food service companies and a number of restaurants to help advise them on what type of seafood is good for the ocean and which things to avoid. And so learning about the various recommendations that groups like ours have for seafood products out there and engaging in partnerships and collaborations with the environmental community is a major thing that businesses that care about their image of sustainability and doing the right thing for the ocean, those are things that they can do right now.
And now for the consumers, a super green list of wild and farm seafood was created. What species are on the list and why?
Well, in terms of the list that we put out there, for over 10 years we've been putting out the Seafood Watch pocket guides that have talked about what things are friendly for the ocean, what types of things are more sustainable and things that should be avoided if you care about the future health of our oceans and ecosystems. At the same time, many people are very concerned now with the health aspects of seafood, particularly, is my seafood low in contaminants like mercury and PCBs, and is it healthy in things like omega-3s, which are really good for your heart. So we've partnered with the Environmental Defense Fund as well as some scientists from the Harvard School of Public Health to develop a list of seafood products that essentially are super green in that they are best choices in terms of ocean health, but also very healthy for your own health in terms of low in contaminants and high in these omega-3s. So some of the species on this list include albacore tuna caught on the west coast with troll pole. Other things are wild salmon, for example. Farmed rainbow trout is actually on the list, farmed mussels and oysters, and also trawled pink shrimp that comes from Oregon and the west coast. So there are a number of things on this list. The list actually is longer than that, but I think what's really important is it's really a win-win picking things from this list. They're both healthy for you and healthy for the ocean.
Dr. Shester, in your opinion, is there hope for the future of seafood?
I think there absolutely is hope for the future of seafood, and that's exactly the main message of the report. It's now more important than it has ever been for consumers to vote with their dollars and their pocketbooks and use things like the Seafood Watch Guides to make those choices, because it can push demand through these major buyers, and by supporting the fishing communities and fish farms that are doing things right, it can really provide a market incentive, which we've seen already push the industry towards more sustainability. And I think more than ever, we're seeing the fact that the consumers are more aware of these things. For example, we've put out 32 million of these pocket guides in the last 10 years. Consumers are more aware than ever that these things are making a difference, and that it does matter the choices that you make in seafood. And so we know the formula for more sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. It's not a mystery. We know how to do it. The question is, can we provide enough incentive for the industry to really move in that direction? And it all really starts with the consumer.
So where can people go to get more information on the report and the list?
You can find more information on this report at our website at www.montereybayaquarium.org, and you can find links to both our State of Seafood report here, as well as our pocket guides and the Super Green list. You can also download a pocket guide, and we recently put together an iPhone application that is free that you can download to get all the information that is constantly being updated, that has our recommendations for seafood, both in terms of health and in terms of ocean friendliness.
Dr. Shester, thanks for joining us here on WFN News.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks.